Welcome to today's episode of the EduTalk podcast led by Advanced Media Group, where we bring for you conversation that matter, conversations that inspire change. Our guest today is someone who embodies courage, conviction, and compassion, Miss Rumaan Mecci. Rumaan Mecci is a distinguished public policy professional, a passionate advocate for human rights, a tireless champion for women empowerment, and a strong voice for minority communities. With her deep expertise and relentless commitment, she has been at the forefront of shaping inclusive policies, driving meaningful reforms, and amplifying the voices of those often left unheard. In a world that needs more empathy and action, her work bridges the gap between advocacy and impact. Today, we will explore her journey, her vision, and challenges, and terms that have defined her path. So, let's dive in and hear from a woman whose mission is not just to speak for the voiceless but to empower them to speak for themselves. Yeah, Ms. Ruman. So let's dive into the question. And can you take us back to the beginning and share what shaped your journey into this path and the moments that inspired you to make it your life's mission?
So I'm a public policy professional. I have completed public policy and have completed my master's there. I've been working in the field of human rights and policy for over a decade right now. I've worked in places like Bangladesh and with ActionAid and United Nations during the Rohingya refugee crisis. I've worked in places like Kashmir. I've worked with organizations that have worked on the Indian minority question across the length and breadth of India. And just recently, I was a part of the Kashmir Solidarity Mission, where a group of activists and delegates went all the way till Kashmir to assess the situation there and to help bring that to the public notice. So.
Thank you so much for your input. And you have mentioned your work in places like Kashmir, Bangladesh, and with underprivileged minority communities. From these diverse experiences, what do you believe is the most urgent issue of our society needs to address to truly move towards justice and equality?
That's a very good question, because one of the biggest pain points that I have seen with the Indian minorities in general is a kind of systemic problems that they're going through. So it's just not the fact that they're not educated. It's the fact that they're also not well-to-do economically, and they're not well-to-do socially because they're not well-to-do economically and their education lacks. So it's sort of a vicious cycle, right? And if we have to tackle that, we have to tackle at mostly the economic empowerment, and once we do that, the other things also fall in place in education, etc. So we need to look at the community upliftment and empowerment through a very systematic lens. We have to make sure that we give them agency to decide for themselves as to what they need and not impose things upon them. And if we give them that kind of ownership, that kind of leadership, the minority condition is going to change considerably.
Well, in minority communities, especially among women, educational level and awareness remain very low. From your experience, what practical steps do you think can be taken to tackle these challenges and create a real lasting change?
It's quite unfortunate because from all the endeavors I have embarked upon, all the travels I've made, I've seen that some of the brightest women that I have met come from the most remote areas of India, from Jharkhand to Assam, and are so smart, so ambitious. It's just the lack of opportunities that are stopping them from achieving what they want. So therefore, I think there needs to be a special focus on women. We have to give them a lot of incentives. So incentivization for education of Muslim women is a very important part. And once we tackle this, we can, and we have to look at it through sort of a generational lens. It's just not right now. We'll have to make programs and design projects such that it is going to help women across generations right now.
Well, education, health, and economics empowerment are often called the three key pillars of a strong society. From our perspective, how can we strengthen these pillars, especially for vulnerable and marginalized communities, so that progress is both inclusive and sustainable?
So with education, it's important that there is a holistic education that's given, that's on par with international standards. We have wonderful literature and curriculum based out of India already. So we have to utilize that, and all the schools that are running short of funds, because usually people are not able to give them adequate fees. So we'll have to make sure that we have right scholarships in place and all of that. With healthcare, again, it's a very saddening thing that people who don't have adequate resources, and when they get huge health related issues, they cannot go to any place, and therefore they'd rather be injured or they pass on, right? So, and that's pretty problematic. We need affordable care services, or free hospitals or something of that sort in the charitable nature, and economic empowerment. I think this is the crux of it all. If we are to empower the community, the Indian minorities in general very well, that is what is going to lead to their betterment. When they become active agents of contributing to the GDP of the country, where they are becoming active agents, where they are transacting well with the other people across across the country and the world, they become active citizens. And that is when you bring about change.
You mentioned that strengthening a society's economy begins with supporting people financially. Sahyog, under the leadership of Mr. Zoha and his dedicated team, has been doing remarkable work to help underprivileged communities. Since you have been associated with Sahyog and you know about this organization, how do you see its initiatives making a meaningful difference for the poor, the needy, and marginalized groups?
So I am very glad and happy to be associated with Sahyog, because Sahyog is a very interesting project. It not only tackles with economic empowerment, but it also tackles with bringing about systemic change within the community. And it's systemic change just does not happen through lending and borrowing, etc. It happens solely by the fact that you bring about behavioral changes in people. Yes. You inculcate the aspect of savings within them. You tell them the importance of contributing to the economy and how you're going to have a great exchange value as a part of being the economy. And this is how you bring a large change. And the sort of work they're doing in advancement of this economic condition, and thereby affecting the education, healthcare, all the other aspects that we previously spoke about, is commendable. So yeah, I'm very happy to be associated with Sahyog.
Thank you so much for talking to us, and all the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah.